Perspective warp. Hi guys, last time we talked about the possibilities of transformation, and today we'll continue this topic, and we'll talk about perspective distortion in more detail. Let's remember what we went through last time, and look at some additional features. Very often there is such a perspective distortion of architectural objects, which I would like to correct. I would like the walls of my house to be vertical, these lines to be parallel to the edges of the image. And I would like to align the house this way. What can we do? I have previously made a copy of a layer so that we can compare. And now let's move on to the free transform mode. So, first of all, I will choose a perspective because it seems to be the most suitable tool, judging by the name in this case. So, I choose a perspective. And look, I'm moving the upper sliders a little. And here I have the walls being pushed outwards. But in general, you can probably somehow make it. But frankly, it's not very convenient. That's what I get. But I would also like to fix the roof somehow now. It is not right. Let's try to make a distortion then. Here we can work more precisely, because we can move each corner separately. And so, let me align this wall and this one. At the same time, I can lower the roof. That is, my upper left corner goes up, and my upper right corner goes down. And so, I got this image here. There, the bottom picture shines through. In the future, we will go through the tools with which it will be possible to remove it. Look here. That's what we've got. And that's what we had. The house has almost completely changed its location. Now it is located as if it is in front of us. And here it is slightly tilted. That's the effect we got. But such an effect is good in cases where the picture is very simple, like this one. There are no particular superfluous objects here, and even if it somehow shifts there, for example, grass or sky, then this is not particularly noticeable to us. Let's look at another example, where there is a similar perspective distortion that we would like to correct. Select to distort and begin to align. So, for example, it will be like this. Let's keep this option and try to change the perspective of our house in another different way. Let's go to the Edit menu and select Perspective Warp. Here we have hints from Photoshop right away, but we'll close and try to figure it out for ourselves. As soon as we activate this function, the Layout button became active in our top menu. It's like a sketch of our deformation. And for example, I want to change the placement of the walls. I'm drawing a frame like this. So here I can put everything very precisely on the wall. That's it. And for example, I want to change only this wall and don't change everything else. Then I either press Enter or select Warp. And now see what happens. My picture is moving relative to the point I have chosen. I can completely change the angle of the location of this entire architectural ensemble. If I work with a different point, then I'll move it all in a completely different way. And after choosing the right option, I can of course press Enter and all this will be fixed. And note that if I press Shift and click on some side, then it becomes either strictly vertical or strictly horizontal. You see how everything changes. Let's talk about more complex option. When we will have two walls involved, we go into Edit, select the Perspective Warp, select our first wall, which we have already selected before. Well, by the way, if you press Shift, then while you have switched to Warp mode, you will have a whole segment moving at once. It won't align vertically and horizontally, as in deformation mode. It will be moving. And now we draw the second wall. Let's say we have drawn something like this. As soon as the wall gets close enough to the other one, then you see, we have this kind of selection that allows us to combine these areas in such a way that we have a corner of the wall. So here we can still correct something. It will help you to select our walls as accurately as possible. And we can press Enter or the Warp button. And here we can already deform. Here you see we can move. And here we have different settings. Firstly, we can make all the walls or all the vertical segments vertical or all the horizontal segments horizontal with one mouse movement. For example, I choose horizontal, and you can see that all my lines that are related to the horizontal have become horizontal. but it's not really convenient. So I press Ctrl+Z and take a step back. If you choose the vertical ones, then that's what will happen. I also take a step back. Or we can do all the vertical and horizontal at once, like that. And then we'll have just one facade, which is inscribed rectangle. The next button allows you to remove the deformation, to undo everything that we did before. Here we have returned to the position that we had before. We started to deform something, and this one cancels everything. We are not going to press it yet. And so, let's try to do something here. Let's try to do it manually. First, align the wall here with a shift pressed. But here it's not necessary. Here it is better for us to do it manually. You see, it somehow begins to stick to the wrong place, and we don't need it. Here we can change the angle of our house. Let it be like this. By the way, you can stretch the width at the same time. It doesn't change. Well, let's say we are satisfied with this option. You can change the perspective a little bit here, for example. But, you see, everything is already shifting too much for us. Well, we'll probably leave it like this. And after we have decided that everything suits us, we can press Enter or tick here. And that's what we got. Let's compare. We had this one. And now it looks like this. And initially there was this. Well, now if we turn off the lower eye icon, then we'll see that we have some defects. By the way, if we want to change this house right away and also align its perspective, then in this case we need to draw these planes here, which will deform. I mean, at the very beginning it is necessary to create areas to deformation, not only in this big house, but also here. Well, let's just crop this picture. We'll take a tool called the crop. Click on it and just cut off the areas we don't need. Well, for example, like this. So just click twice somewhere in the center of it, and you get this option here. So let's see what we had, and that's what we got as a result. That's the way this transformation works. I hope that you liked it and you'll practice it. And the homework will be to make a perspective warp in two ways. The first way is the way we did with this house, with the help of such free transform functions as distortion and perspective. Well, if you remember, we use distortion as a result. And here is the option where we have applied perspective warp. It is all for today. It was Peter Romanov and AIM School. See you next time.